All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Alex Antuna. I am part of the data analytics class here at Fitchburg State University. My presentation will be on assortment optimization, um, really why I chose it and the effectiveness of it and how it could be a tool in the toolbox for retailers and hopefully save the crisis that a lot of brick and mortar stores are facing in the days that we are currently living in. So let's dive right into it. So, what is assortment optimization? So, in short, it's having a deep dive on what exactly the customer wants to purchase or is looking for in specific. It can not only close more business for these retailers, but streamline business processes and operations in several silos within a business. And this, in short, is what assortment optimization is. It's the process of selecting the right mix of products and displaying them, whether it's in a storefront, a showroom, or a grocery store. So, the industry overview is that retailers in this industry are now leveraging the use of analytics and AI in response to how customer-centric data provides and entails the benefits of improving sales. By understanding a consumer's buying behavior, preferences, and demographics, businesses are now able to display and offer certain products that can satisfy the customer's demands. The benefits of this is that the customer centric approach can now lead to a higher customer satisfaction, loyalty to the business and brand, differentiation, because as we've read, not a lot of companies do this on the regular, and it also provides retention, similar to that point of customer loyalty, brand difference, things in that nature. It also brings many enterprise level businesses um, the assortment optimization to manage a business overhead and inventory by accurately identifying and placing the precise products that a consumer would buy given that data from the data analytics. So this will help also with the overhead and not having stuff just sitting in warehouses. So those are the industry overview, and why a lot of retailers are going into assortment optimization. So the defining use case, and I'll get into why there's a picture of the beloved Bed Bath and Beyond. I know we all shopped there in the 2000s, and if we still have one in our metropolitan area, we still go to it because it is a fun store. So in short, businesses leverage their purchasing and marketing teams to discover products that would be attractive to their customer base. Marketing kind of sees what's the trends right now, whether it's social media. TikTok's a big app that's exploding for marketing right now, seeing what's hot, what's new, as well as purchasing. You want to be able to have these products available in your stores. We've seen what happened, during COVID with things being out of stock. A lot of brick and mortar stores suffered, and a lot of e-commerce stores that didn't need to have a certain overhead succeeded. Um, the challenge is that these teams face in different regions and geography. They attract different clientele, different tastes, different price points, different demographic of customers. What they're specifically looking to, whether it's style or cultural preferences. I really want to touch into Bed Bath and Beyond because the former retailer giant, how they actually purchase their products for their storefronts, is that the managers had sole purchasing power for each of their storefronts. So they were able to basically singly buy what they thought would be attractive to their clientele in that specific region. And that's what led to its demise. They were basically making assumptions and not leveraging data. And as of February 2022, the company closed all of its stores in Canada, and that's 65 brick and mortar stores. And this shouldn't be the scapegoat of its shortcomings across the company. Stores each had their own quote unquote style in terms of what was sold at each brick and mortar location based on what the leadership team desired to sell. So, really, not even leveraging a correct marketing team, not really using data analytics to see what really is hot, just really high opinions and C level execs thinking that they know best. In short, over two-thirds of merchandise in stores are selected by management, and this was previously before Bed Bath and Beyond has made some changes, but this definitely was a part of the demise that data analytics could have been a help. So the solutions that I found that were of some great help was Periscope. The one thing that I did like about Periscope was that they were able to maximize and boost sales. They were able to determine which categories are under and over represented. So, a lot of times things will be out of style or things are not attracted to the customer anymore, but still sitting on the shelves because a company purchased so much of that product. They kind of have to let it sit on the shelves and let it sell out. So this is really optimizing the sales and also managing cost for the future. So it's kind of riding that wave of predicting what's going to be sold. Um, as far as my second option that I'd recommend to a big box retailer like Bed Bath and Beyond is H2O AI. Much similar to Periscope's capabilities as far as displaying what categories are under and over represented. The one thing I did like is internet behavior, and I feel a lot of e-commerce, or excuse me, a lot of brick and mortar stores were late to that party. A successful one would be, the Best Buys that were able to um, thin out their brick and mortar storefronts, but still have a high presence on the internet. I think a lot of brick and mortar stores should follow that model, and I think the capabilities of H2O AI possess that. It's able to optimize and eliminate markdowns by placing products where they may be sold for full price and prevent stockouts by directing additional inventory to retailers where it's most required. So basically, kind of helping out where products should be placed in a storefront, the time that they should be marked down, and the time they should be placed at full price. I think a lot of times, my history in retail, um, you know, where products were displayed had a lot to do with it. The lighting, the walls behind it. You want to sell a look, not necessarily a product. You want to sell a feeling, not necessarily a product. Especially in the world of retail, whether it's furniture, whether it's clothes, whether it's perfumes, lotions, and we talked about that with a lot of our videos. Now, by leveraging these tools, one must wonder, huh, you mentioned a lot about purchasing teams. You mentioned a lot about marketing teams. What's right or wrong? In leveraging AI and purchasing and predicting patterns for these customers, a business is going to make a lot more money, and they're not going to really necessarily need such dense teams for purchasing and for marketing. Don't get me wrong, marketing's always growing, it's always changing. It's not what it was, 5 years ago. We wouldn't see um, companies like Wendy's or Slim Jim or hotels like Marriott have such a silly and humorous tone on their social media presence. Things change, you gotta work with the customer. So marketing will always be around, but it's one thing to assume, or one thing we can assume, that there will be less jobs in both of these um, departments. The one thing that I am concerned about, and in the reading that we read last week, um, as far as leveraging, it was automated machine learning, but in this case, it's tools within assortment optimization. I really, really hope that businesses use it as a tool and not necessarily as a division of purchasing and marketing. It's a tool in the toolbox that can be leveraged, and it needs to be behind a human brain to determine what's right or what's wrong. 'Cause at the end of the day, data is only as good as it's analyzed through a person's lens. So, moving on, future thinking and conclusion. In a world dominated now by e-commerce, people attached to social distancing from a pandemic that still looms not too far from us. Brick and mortar businesses have the mindset of closing every possible customer that walks to the storefront. And this to me is a huge solution in optimizing sales. Um, you know, Brick and mortar stores are behind the eight ball because their lack of presence in e-commerce. A lot of large scale brick and mortar stores now have a strong presence in e-commerce, but also assortment optimization. The most successful companies as of late leverage this. Um, H2O AI is customers or their customer clientele includes Walgreens and includes Macy's. So, and as far as you look at their quarterly statistics, they're doing very well amidst economic slowdown, thoughts of a recession. They're still hanging on compared to their competitors like J.C. Penney, for example, or Rite Aid, for example, when Walgreens took over. So that's really where my head is at with things. I truly feel that there's only so much space in the in-person shopping experience, and retail floor specialists, purchasing teams, and marketing teams are looking to see how they can optimize their floor displays, limit overhead, and offer exactly what the customer is looking for. And the biggest tool to help with that is assortment optimization. I want to thank everybody for listening. I look forward to posting this on YouTube. Hopefully, the audio will work. And looking forward to discussing with my classmates and really appreciate the time for those that stuck through all 10 minutes. Thanks. Bye bye.